show. So, nobody gets attention like the Cowboys. Nobody in college football about the last year, maybe a handful of, Deion Sanders and what he has done with Colorado. There was a report, Jerry Jones actually saying that he and Deion talked. This is headlines because it's Deion, it's Colorado, it's the Cowboys. I see no chance in hell because Deion himself said that in the quote that is on the graphic about where he is, where he wants to be. Now, coaches have said that before.
I didn't think he said no chance in hell. I just think he'd loved it in Colorado. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but that was very much not a no. I'm not going to coach the Cowboys. I'm going to stay here. It's like, it's great to hear from Jerry Jones, and I love it here. That's what he said. I'm warming up to the idea more and more just because, I think that, look, if you want somebody who's going to be able to kind of deflect attention off of, or add attention onto this team, which it already gets way more than it deserves given how good they've been, and you want somebody who's actually going to be determined to prove every hater wrong.
Thinking of sending someone a boring gift basket? Don't. I know, gifting is hard, but don't give basic. Gift Boardery. Fully arranged gourmet charcuterie boards. Perfect for any occasion. Birthdays, engagements, thank you gifts. Boardery has you covered. Plus, if you forget to get a gift, Boardery ships overnight nationwide. So no more excuses, Cheryl. Don't gift basic, gift Boardery.
That he can actually win. That I think Deion Sanders is maybe the only pill that might work to solve the sickness the Cowboys have. Outside of that, I don't know, and I still don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because it's a little bit too risky for Jerry Jones, and this bullcrap about him being a wildcatter is not true. He is risk adverse when it comes to the Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever a good idea to hire a head coach in part to prove the haters wrong.
Yeah.
But, at this point, nothing would surprise me with Jerry and company. That was definitely not a denial. I think mostly, I don't think it's his job to say yes or no to.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have coaches gone and interviewed places and then they don't get the job or don't hear back, or they decide it's not the job they want, and then they're like, I love it here, and this is Tucson's awesome, and I love it here. Did they say they're always going to be in Tucson, or that they're not interested in the other job? Or no, they're just saying that, like, what they have to say basically to control the damage that was possibly done, and the PR part of it, understandably, you've got to make sure the Colorado fans are okay, because if you're showing too much love to this Dallas Cowboys job, that's going to piss them off. And we know, like, they're blindly loyal to Deion, and I don't even know if that's Colorado fans so much as Deion loyalists are loyal to Deion. So, like, he can do no wrong in their eyes. But for the Colorado fan who loves Colorado football and not Deion, you might rub some people the wrong way and ruin some of the chemistry and kind of fandom that you've built there. But then again, I'm sure if you were to come back regardless, they'd be understanding to some extent. And then at the same time, if you want to look like, Mr. Big Time, and you don't get told no for jobs, or you tell the Cowboys no, not vice versa, and at least make it want to appear that way, especially if you haven't been offered the job, well, then that's the exact thing you would say there as well. So to me, Deion didn't say anything other than, hey, I'm flattered, but Colorado's cool too. He said nothing about turning down a job or even being offered a job. So I guess you can take that however you want. I take that as it's not his to say yes or no to right now, and he's saving face the way anybody would in that situation, which is to play both sides of it and to not commit one way or the other, and that's the smart play. And you know what? If the Cowboys called, I bet we'd probably hear a different tune. But who knows? I mean, he's probably got a lot of options out there, in terms of what he wants to do in the future. And I just think from the Cowboys standpoint of, like, I don't think you get a guy just to make waves. Like, isn't that kind of been the problem for the last 20 years?
Well, Campo didn't make waves.
But none of these guys have, like...
Chan Gailey didn't either.
But Bill, like, the only coach that they've ever hired that's legitimate waves after Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer was Parcells.
Yeah, I guess I need to word it better. I'm not trying to make a splash with the coach.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, all this splash bull crap about Jerry's not true. He very rarely makes a splash. It's like once every 5 years, splash.
Too many times people think about the contract with Deion, the $12.9 million, whatever. Yeah,
that's all over.
Well, but this, yeah, and so this would be the ultimate splash. If
it would be a splash. That's what you want. Like, yeah, this would be the ultimate splash. And so if that's what Jerry's going for at this point, I mean, Lord knows he's not hiring many more head coaches, guys. Let's be real about it. Yep. This might be his last head coaching hire. I mean, if we're being perfectly honest about the situation. So, yeah, I mean, this one needs to be a good one. And Steven's probably making the next one. Most likely. We'll see, but I think Deion definitely would have some. I think for Deion, though, and I don't know, this is just me kind of wondering around, like, would you want to ruin that relationship that you have with Jerry Jones? It seems like it's pretty special by going and working for him. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like they have a pretty tight-knit thing, and I think going to work for Jerry probably would be cool in some ways, but I also think it would kind of maybe mess with that.
You may not see some of the side that you don't have to see.
I'm just saying, like, that's just one thing of, like, I don't know if you always want to necessarily go work for the guy who you're buddies with. I don't know. A lot of times people do, and it works out or it doesn't. I'm just saying, I know that he and Jerry seem like they're pretty tight, and he's one of those old Cowboys you see all the time. So I don't know if, like, you want to, like, ruin any of that by going and potentially having this disastrous coaching situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then again, hey, Deion's not afraid of failing. That's why he's who he is. So I don't think he'd look at it that way at all. But, yeah, I don't know that it's his job to say yes or no to. So in the meantime, he's got to do what he's got to do, and he did so with that statement.
Shireen Williams, who's a Hall of Fame writer, she and John McClain are, like, great at what they do. We've had Shireen on occasionally. She said, Deion has an $8 million buyout. Bill Belichick has a $10 million buyout. Sarkisian has a $6 million buyout. Jerry doesn't pay off coaches to get rid of them. In what world does anyone think he would pay a buyout of a contract? And he waited to the last day. He doesn't owe McCarthy a dime.
No, he didn't, and he wouldn't. Yeah, their contract was up anyway. Look, he didn't buy out Jason Garrett, did he? He just let the contract expire and didn't bring him back. That's just kind of how he does things. That's how he – and look, that's actually how McCarthy did it to Jerry. I think that I agree with, we had everybody I've talked to, RJ Choppy, RJ Ochoa, you'll hear him today, and Todd Archer, and then everybody I've read kind of thinks that McCarthy left more than Jerry let him go. Because it seems to me like they were trying to do this Jason Garrett thing where, like, everybody loves everybody here. We'll get it worked out. And then they start – getting down the road, and then McCarthy says, like, I don't think I like the way this is going, and I'm just going to walk away while everybody's still cool, and that's what happened.
Well, it also, and what Deion does, think about where he is now compared to where he was at the end of last year after they had a kind of a bad season at the end, even though they took America by storm early.
But the thing we're not, and this more apropos of our show, that we're not talking about right now is, let's just play the hypothetical game of, okay, Deion and Jerry do come together and this happens, which I don't think. Then Colorado's in a very weird spot because it's not like you can just go hire another Deion Sanders. Like, the hype around your program was brought there by Deion Sanders and Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter, who all came as a package deal. Deion didn't go there and they were there. He went there and brought them with him. And so you've built all this tremendous hype around your program, excitement, like genuine adrenaline shot in the veins of your fan base. People are paying to Colorado football for the first time nationally in probably 20 years, really. And then he's just going to go, well, what direction do you go in? That may be the toughest coaching replacement outside of a Nick Saban that I can imagine, based on everything that you did to take that big swing and put Deion Sanders in that job.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a better conversation to have if they were to actually have to deal with that, because right now I don't feel like they're going to have to, but it is an interesting question because I do think, like, they'd lose a lot of fans. I mean, quote-unquote fans. They'd lose the Deion loyalists for sure. There might be a couple of stragglers that, like, hang around and say, you know what, I kind of enjoyed what I saw for a couple of years. I'm going to still support this team. But, yeah, I mean, season tickets would go down, ratings would go down, and there's nobody you could hire to prevent that. other than like Nick Saban. I mean, and that would be about it. So yeah, Colorado, I think you are probably reading this as a very positive message if you're a Colorado fan who believes Deion wants to be there for like his whole life. You know what I mean? Like we know how this goes during coaching circuits and the types of like ways people can read things. If you believe that your coach really loves it here, and this is like where he wants to be, then you read that and you think, he told Jerry and the Cowboys no, he has no interest. If you think Deion's like up next for whatever job and that's what's on his mind, then you read that and you go, he didn't say no. And that's exactly what we do during coaching carousel season when these coaches come out with their statements, right? So it really is in the eye of the beholder. And for me, like I've said a couple of times now, I just think there's nothing to say yes or no to. I don't think he's got a job to say yes or no to. So the best bet in the meantime is to posture to where maybe Colorado says, hey, Deion, that was a really good season. Like, what do you think about some more money? Or what do you think about this? Like, worst case scenario, maybe Colorado gives you the bump. And you know what? You've got a couple of different options out in front of you, so he's going to be fine regardless. But, yeah, I think he's just kind of posturing a little bit and saying what most coaches in that situation would say, which is not a yes, not a no, but just a thanks, and I appreciate the attention, and I love the school that I'm coaching right now. I wouldn't get worried as a Colorado fan right now, though, because I don't think he's that guy for the Cowboys at the moment. I think certainly if some things fall a certain way, he could be eventually, but I don't think he's that guy just yet. So you're right, Paul. That would be interesting to see how they would react to that if it does come to that, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And, yeah, it would be some massive shoes to fill that would be basically unfillable from an attention and program attractiveness standpoint.
Most people think it's not going to happen. Some people think it'd be pretty cool if it did. And then Cornelio, F, splash, and image. The Cowboys have the offensive talent to get it done. They need a coach and assistants to flat-out increase production at a much higher site. Number one, bring in a proven quarterback guru.
What offensive talent outside of CeeDee Lamb do they have? They've got a quarterback who can't win a game in the playoffs that they're paying $60 million a year to. They don't have a running back. They don't have a second wide receiver. Their tight ends all suck this year. Their offensive line is a bunch of rookies. What offensive talent? Here, let's end the mist. Cornelio, you're wrong, and I love you, buddy. Usually you and I agree, but they do not have the offensive talent to get crap done.
I think
nothing.
One thing that also
guess we know how to get Paul wound up, huh?
God,
Yeah.
it just, no.
And Zach Martin, who, of course, missed
retiring.
a lot of he's
Probably.
Yeah, he's not the same player who he was in a Hall of Fame talent and career.